Hello, you're welcome to the Voters Diary. My name is Vivian Kai Loco. Thank you so much for making time to join us on another edition of the Voters Diary. Today, our concentration is the Greater Accra region, the capital of the country, Ghana. We're looking at the Greater Accra region in terms of elections, from the 2016 election to the 2012 elections, and what we are likely to see in the 2020 elections. When we come back, we'll look deep into this region. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Voters Diary. My name is Vivian Kai Loco. Today I'm with my two usual guys, Salam Adono, head of features articles here at City FM and City TV, as well as Dade-Kotopon, heads our new media team here at City TV and City FM. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you, Vivian.
Okay, so today we're coming to my home region.
And we are all in blue.
We are
because your region has the sea blue.
You'll be going, also we've not done your home region as well, which is the
okay,
yes.
But must we do that region? Must we do it?
We all know the answers.
Of course, I mean, so of course we will do it.
Because they say that this year things, I mean, not significantly, but
because of the creation of the new regions?
No, because it appears that maybe when Nanado was touring around the place, quite some interesting, attention from the indigents and the chiefs and all that, and perhaps
don't put you on the spot, but it's been the same.
A little more.
No, it means that the voter region will be the same yesterday, today, and forever.
That was a lot more to say.
No, I don't know if anything significant will change, but why not? We'll do.
We'll table
it and see how it goes.
Well, of course, guys, thank you. Today we're looking at my home region, Greater Accra region. At a point, we'll look at my home constituency, which is the Lojokuku constituency, and then we'll look at my living constituency, which is Teshinungo Estates. That's
okay. That's Lojokuku.
Lojokuku, and then my home constituency is
Dade-Kotopon. In fact, you are spreading yourself across.
No, I'm in charge.
And your work constituency is
called Dade-Kotopon. But actually, my home constituency it divides into two. So on the left side, if you're coming from Tema, that's Lojokuku. On the right side, that's Krowa. So I'm in between two regions. Sitting comfortably.
Your vote is confused small.
But guys, so it's an interesting region. Before we look at the numbers and all that, I want you to do your magic to show us how the region looks like, which areas it covers and all that. Usually when people talk about Greater Accra region, they just leave it to, they don't go all the way to Adance, they cut it off. So give us a beautiful picture of what this region, the capital of Ghana, looks like.
Well, the Greater Accra region is the capital. Is the most urbanized of all the regions. Is the most urbanized of all the regions. If you take out areas like Ada, Sege, Ningo Pram Pram, Shai Osudoku, you'd realize that almost all the other constituencies, and maybe the Domiabro Boom and parts of those areas, almost all the other constituencies are heavily urbanized. So, and the population density is quite big because it's a small region with a very big population. It's home to the seat of the executive, legislature, judiciary, even the first main media house, which is GBC, which is the state broadcaster, is also home to. So it's key. The economy of Ghana, Tema, the Tema port, which is one of the biggest in the sub-region, is in the region. So a lot of things happen here. This is the center. This is where all the action that affects the rest of the other regions and constituencies happen. So the first place you go, I think we should see the seat of government, the executive, where the president is. That is the Jubilee House. Used to be Flagstaff House, now the Jubilee House. So this is the Jubilee House. So all those watching us who have heard of the Jubilee House, this is where Nana Akufo-Addo is. And this is where Mahama wants to go back to, right? Mahama was here, and he lost the elections, so Akufo-Addo is here. Mahama wants to go back. So this is the Jubilee House. This is where the official stuff happen. like the administrative area where all the work goes on. The president's offices, the vice president, and other offices. And this is the presidential villa, where technically the home of the president, where he sleeps and rests. So that's the Jubilee House. And right opposite the Jubilee House, if you can see this, these are the structures that house the police officers opposite the Jubilee House. You see these big story buildings. They house the police officers opposite the Jubilee House. And a lot of action happens. So DVLA is close to Jubilee House, embassies, a lot of things. And it's close to the police headquarters, close to the immigration headquarters, close to the defense ministry. A lot of practically this is the Jubilee House. And as you can see, it's all built up around the Jubilee House. Beautiful, beautiful space. Let me show you the road in front of the Jubilee House for you to get a picture of how the area is. So this is the beautiful road in front of the Jubilee House. This is where usually, this is the Christ the King Church. And this area is one zone known for Rawlins's celebrations. He comes to light this flame. So basically this is the area in front of Jubilee House. These structures house the police officers, as you can see, and the road is the Liberation Road, and that's the beautiful lawns of the Jubilee House, and this the front of the Jubilee House with Ghana properly represented. So this is the Jubilee House, really. 37 Military Hospital. If we drive straight, if we have to drive straight, we'll get all the way to the 37 Military Hospital, right? So this really is a sense of the Jubilee House, and there's always traffic on the stretch in the morning and the evening. That's why you are seeing all the cars. So this is the Jubilee House. From the Jubilee House, let's go to Parliament House. Let's go to Parliament House. So State House and Parliament House, they are all in the same enclave. Now, this picture you see here, I'm zooming into Parliament House itself. So this is the Parliament House. This is where all the MPs go to work for you. So any MP who comes to you right now to say vote for me, this is where they will be spending most of their time. So this is the Parliament House building. Now, next to Parliament House, this is the State House, the banquet hall where we go for parties and events and national celebrations. And this building you are seeing is Job 600, where the offices of the MPs are. So this also gives you a bit of a picture of Parliament House. Opposite Parliament House is the Accra International Conference Center. This structure is the Accra International Conference Center. And if your schools in your regions or your... Please,
Richard and Medicine, those are my schools.
I'm actually talking about buses and distribution of motorbikes. You know, usually the government distributes buses and motorbikes. Usually they are parked here. They are parked here, so ambulances, so buses. So these are some historical shots of buses that were parked there some time ago and have been distributed. If you love football, this is the Ohenijan Sports Stadium, also known as the Accra Sports Stadium. So this is a bit about the Parliament House. It's also in a very built-up area. If you stand on Job 600, you see the sea, right? Now from Parliament House, let's go to, so that is the legislature, right? That's the legislature. Now this is the front of the Parliament House. So if you go to the left, you are entering Parliament House. If you go to the right, you are entering Accra International Conference Center. So this is where your MPs work for you. Now from there, let's go to, so it's executive, legislature, and judiciary. So this is the Supreme Court of the Republic of Ghana, right? This is the Supreme Court, and the Judicial Council is here, and other structures are here. Now, before you get to the Supreme Court, there was a green pitch that showed up. This one is the national hockey pitch, the Theodosia Oko hockey pitch, which saw a renaming and had so many issues come up. All right, so this is the Supreme Court, the judiciary. So executive manning the country, legislature making the laws, judiciary interpreting the laws, and ensuring there's rule of law. So those of you who have not seen the building before, these are the beautiful structures that house the Supreme Court of the Republic of Ghana. And all around the Supreme Court are markets. A lot of the Accra commercial activities and the markets are happening here. Now this structure with my mouse on is the GCB Towers, right? If you go forward a little bit, you see GCB in all its glory. So this is the GCB Towers. And if I go forward a little bit, you see GCB and Bank of Ghana. So this structure is the Bank of Ghana building. Yes, and this one is the Ghana Commercial Bank head office. So this also gives you a picture of the judiciary and where it is. Now from there, let's do a tour of the constituencies. I'm starting from the eastern side, getting close to the Volta region.
Okay.
This is the Ada constituency. I've coded them green and blue to show you where they usually vote, how they usually vote. So Ada would usually vote NDC. It's a bit of a rural area. It's not much of an urbanized area. And so they do a lot of agriculture, a lot of fishing and related activities. This is the estuary. If you know of the story of Castro, the musician, when he got missing, he got missing at this particular estuary. This is where the river, Volta River, meets the sea at that particular point. So this is Ada. There's a Songo Lagoon protected area where a lot of salt production happens. There's also the Ada Sea Defense Wall, which was built around here, and so many other things. So this is Ada really. Ada there's Big Ada, and there's Kase. If you're moving from Accra to Ada, you get to Kase and then you turn. So this is basically the Ada area, which usually votes for the NDC. From Ada, we go to another area, the Sege area. Sege also votes NDC. All these areas, if I zoom out, you see that they are not really built up. The communities are smaller communities. The houses are a bit split. They are not as compact as you saw when I showed you portions of the Greater Accra region. So this is the Sege area. Also votes green. Usually they vote green. From there we go to Pram Pram, Ningo Pram Pram, which is it Sam George? Yes. But the most popular MP we've known from Ningo Pram Pram is E.T. Mensah. Yeah. So this is the Ningo Pram Pram area as well. As you can see, this area is also a bit rural, not too urbanized. A lot of agriculture activities and a lot of fishing. So fishing and aquaculture. So agric and aquaculture. They are all coastal communities. Areas. So there's Old Ningo, there's New Ningo, there's Pram Pram. Now Pram Pram is gradually becoming built up. We are seeing a lot of
developments by the coast proper.
Estates coming up in Pram Pram. Land prices. Last time I went to the Pram Pram area to look for land was about 5 years ago. They were selling for 12,000. But this time, if you don't have about 30,000 cedis, you're not going to get land. So
and 30 will be quite far from the waterfront.
Yes. So this is the Pram Pram area as well. Ningo Pram Pram, which also votes green for the NDC. From Ningo Pram Pram, let's go to Shai Osidoku. Also a rural area, not much of an urban area, lots of mountains, lots of rivers, and lots of farming and related activities. So this is Shai Osidoku, which typically also votes green for the NDC. From Shai Osidoku, we'll go to the Pon Katamanso area, which is one of the, I'll describe it as a crazy constituency. Why? Because it spreads all the way from the coast into, so this is Pon Katamanso, right? This is Pon. Now, Pon Katamanso stretches all the way here into.
So comes Oyibi. Into the town proper, moves away, departs
so all the way from the coast into Oyibi. So it's quite slim, right? Sometimes if you want to move from Pon Katamanso, you'd have to come to Accra Mall, the Tetekwashi area, pass through Medina Adenta to parts of Pon Katamanso. If you want to drive through the Tema Road as well, Tema Kosombu Road, a lot of the connections are not that good. So it's quite a difficult constituency for whoever campaigns there. But it also votes green. So that's Pon Katamanso, as you can see. From Pon Katamanso, we go to an area that we all know, the home of Stone Boy, Ashaiman. So this is the Ashaiman constituency. Very urbanized, but it's largely described as a slum
so very urban, but
there are a lot of people there.
Yes,
a lot of settlers, a lot of makeshift structures. It's not as well organized as some of the constituencies as you go along. And there are places like Ashaiman, Jericho, Ashaiman, Lebanon, Ashaiman, and we are told that those areas were named by soldiers who had visited some of those places. So they go to Lebanon for peacekeeping. When they get the money and they come, they all go buy land at a certain place, and then they name it after where they got their money from.
So that's a very packed there.
Yes. Ashaiman is very, very, very packed. If you enter Ashaiman properly, you'd realize that it's a difficult area. MCE struggle to deal with Ashaiman. MP struggle to do,
and a lot of issues around the crime and all
crime. We talk about housing, we talk about employment and unemployment related. And Ashaiman borders the Tema constituencies and the Adentan and other areas. And you see, once you move from Ashaiman and you enter those areas, you see the difference when it comes to development. So that is a Ashaiman which usually votes green. We'll go to Tema East. Now the thing is Tema East, Tema Central, Tema West. They are so close, the boundaries are not really too clear. But this gives us an idea of how they are and where they are. So this is Tema East. You have parts of the heavy industrial area and a lot of the places where the action happens, where the money is. You understand? A lot of businesses are there, a lot of money is in that particular area. So if I zoom in, you see all these oil tanks, right? You see the Tema plants. This is IP1. So if you are getting electricity from the Tema plants, this is one of the first Tema plants that was built in the country. It supports our national grid. So this is basically the Tema East area. I'll move to Tema West. And as I said, the Tema areas are very close knit, so the boundaries may not be clear. So people watching who know the exact boundaries, you could throw in some more messages by sending us a message on the line on the screen. So this is Tema Central, which is also home to the proper Tema settlements, the various communities within Tema. And as you can see, the housing and everything is really well organized. As you can see, housing, everything is really well organized. Fancy roofs, some are blue, some are green, some are red. They've got schools, they've got clubhouses, they've got
so
a lot of
developed areas.
Very developed areas.
You can see some swimming pools.
Yes. As we all know, Tema is about the first well-organized, planned and executed town, which Nkrumah worked on. Then you come to the Tema West area, also quite big, bordering places like Nungwa and the other constituencies. And if I zoom in, for those who have not seen the ports, let me show you a bit of the Tema ports. Right? The Tema Harbor. So this is the Tema Harbor. This is the Tema Harbor. Now, this thing you see, they call it the breakwater. When the ships come, they enter here, they dock, they unload and offload. So this is the Tema Harbor where a lot of the action happens. If I zoom in, you see a lot of vehicles and containers. Lots of containers.
So this is a port proper, right?
Yes. So if you are the MC here or the MP here, you are in an area where a lot of Ghana's revenue comes. So you're expected to be able to make money to run the development of the area. So the Tema MCs, they have a lot of work that they have to do. All these are part of the harbor areas. And you can see, as you can see, lots of containers and a lot of things. And the Sakumono just close to it. So this is a bit about Tema. Now from Tema, let's go to Adentan. That's my constituency. That's where I live. And I'll not vote there because I registered in Korle-Klottey, but this is where I live. This park you see, this big patch of land, is the Adenta Aviation Lands. It was supposed to be a protected area because the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority has some installations here, but at the moment it's been rezoned into a semi-commercial area. So a lot of construction is going on here. But this land, Civil Aviation Authority, these buildings you see here are estates that the Civil Aviation Authority constructed some time ago for their staff. So this is Adentan, quite a big constituency as well when it comes to the number. Very urbanized, as you can see. It has the Adenta Smith Flats and lots of other settlements within Adentan. Now, from Adentan, let's go to...
Why is it showing brown?
Because the data has not been fully captured for the satellite image. So from Adenta, we come to Madina. Madina is also very urbanized, very urbanized. And as you can see, the story is that when we wanted to redevelop Nima back in the days, Madina was the place that a lot of the people moved to. But it's now a very commercial area, and the MC has a lot of work on his hands. In fact, one of the busiest roads passes through Madina. And as we all know, the Madina-Zongo Junction is a very busy place. A lot of action happens there, and there's a lot of traffic. So this really is the Madina lorry station. See the number of cars with vehicles going to every region in the country. That's the Madina lorry station. This place is the Madina Social Welfare, the very Madina Social Welfare. That's it. And if you come down here, you see the Zongo Junction. The troublesome Madina Zongo Junction. Wide roads, 3 lanes left, right, traffic all the time, people moving anyhow. So this is the Madina constituency, also a very urbanized area. So from Madina, we'll move on to Dom Kwabenya, Adwa Safo. also a very urbanized area. There are new settlements coming in, new houses, lots of estates, Dom Kwabenya houses, the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission, and other key assets, Taifa, Dom, Kwabenya, and all those areas. So this is the Dom Kwabenya area.
Pretty huge one.
Pretty huge.
One of the constituencies with a
very
large
huge constituency. So
in Accra.
as you can see, this is Taifa, this is Dom, this is Kwabenya, right?
Yeah.
And then there is Hacho, the Hacho areas, and it goes all the way to the Agbugba. You try to enter and go to the Brekusu areas. The Brekusu, from Dom Kwabenya, you can cross into the Eastern region. So it shares a border with the Eastern region. So that's Dom Kwabenya, which usually also votes blue. From Dom Kwabenya, you go to Amasaman. They say it's not Amasaman, it's Amasaman. Amasaman is also now very developed. About 7 years ago when I moved to Accra, it was developing. But now a lot of people live in Amasaman and they come to work.
The lands are finished, so we are moving to
a lot
the
of people
rural
live
side.
there. And they come to work. So this is Amasaman. So those of you who live in that particular area, you move from Amasaman, you go to Media, and you are gradually entering the Eastern region. So it's also one of the border constituencies as it is. So that's
they
Amasaman.
Are green, right? Amasaman.
Yes, they are green. From Amasaman, you go to Trouble. I was a bit confused with locating Trouble because of the demarcation, but I'm sure this gives us an idea of Trouble. Those watching who know the actual boundaries of Trouble, you may share that with us. Now, from Trouble, let's go to Domia Braubom, which is a bit more rural. So we mentioned Sege, Ada, Shao Sudoku, and those areas. Domia Braubom is the other constituency, which is typically rural, but it's also gradually picking up and growing into an urbanized settlement. But the population density is not that much in Domia Braubom. It feeds off the Weja Lake because it's a boundary constituency of the Weja Lake. From there we go to Botiano, English Yamanfro. We all know Kukurubite, we know Oshie, we know Botiano, we know. So this is Botiano, English Yamanfro. Also a border constituency. From here you enter the central region. It's not fully urbanized, but it's also a rapidly developing area. Urbanization in the area is about 60 to 70%. But at the moment, with the acquisition of land and the way development is shifting to that particular area, it's really developing so fast. So this is the Botiano, English Yamanfro. So if you want to go to the beach, Kokrobite Beach is one of the places that a lot of people go to. There's that Atlantic Beach Bar and Grill. Maybe Saturday, Vivian, you can take us there to give us a treat.
Saturday, I'm sleeping. Don't call me and disturb me.
That is Botiano, English Yamanfro. From there, we go to Wejagbawe. It votes blue.
Yeah.
Wejagbawe, typically, they have so many issues, but they've stuck to their blue, hoping that blue will change their fortune.
Issues,
so this is Wejagbawe, and you can see the place is really brown because their road network really, there's nothing to write. It's nothing to write home about. Bawe is crazy.
I hear it's terrible.
It's terrible.
And it's been terrible for a very long time.
Yes, if you have a salon car and those things, don't go there.
Terrible for a very long time. So look at this. Look at this. Pretty brown. Wow. The roads are, and it's hilly. It's
and it's been so for a long time.
And it's got this eroded road. So when it rains, you like not manholes are even. I'm not describing it well.
And it's home to. Lake that is treated to feed Accra. Now from there, we are going to Anyaso, which also typically votes blue. They've also had their issues, typically just like Wejagbawe, but theirs is improving, it's a bit better. Anyaso has a lot of settlers from the Ashanti region and the Eastern region, and so they typically vote blue. Yes, so that's the Anyaso area. From there, let's go to Ablakuma West. That's Ablakuma West. Since the Pori School, that this is the Danceman area. Godfred Akotobuafo's area. Apiutus in the mix. In fact, this is the Danceman runabout, right? Now, this morning on the City Breakfast Show, we're talking about the musicians from the Western region. If you take this route as the mouse shows, and you take this route, you go to where Papa Yankson used to live. Papa Yankson used to live in this particular area. The late Papa Yankson. Yes, and Apietus and all those musicians are also here. The Danceman exhibition area. Danceman Kifit Club is also around here. Danceman Central Park is also the Carl Rindolph Park. That's where Liberty Professionals they play. So that's the Carl Rindolph Park. So this is also Ablakuma West, giving you an idea of the area it is. Now from there, we'll go to Ablakuma North. So this is Ablakuma North, the Dakuman areas. Also very well organized area, well built up, fully urban. Urbanization in that area is about 99%. So that is Ablakuma North, the Dakuman areas. Now this road you see here, people are asking, which road is this? This is the N1, the George Walker Bush Highway. This is the road that I'm zooming in and out, the George Walker Bush Highway, that is the N1. So quickly, let me run through the rest. There are a lot of constituencies here, so let me just quickly run through. There's also Ablakuma Central, which is bringing us closer to the place they sell car parts and all those things.
Yeah,
Abosokai areas. The Ablakuma Central takes us closer to those areas. And then we'll go to Ablakuma South, which is coming close to the ICGC areas as well. And then we'll move into Clote Kole. This is where City FM is. This is our constituency, right? Now, as you can see, let me just zoom in a bit for people to. This area is where the what do you call it? Circle interchange. Circle interchange. But this shot as taken was when the construction was ongoing. So we would update the shot for viewers. So this is the circle interchange. In fact, this is the interchange area when construction was happening to the circle interchange. This is the circle interchange. Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park is around this area. So this is Clote Kole. It's not Clote. It's Clote Kole. That is for Zaneto Rawlings, right? Yes. That's her constituency. From there, we'll go to Okaikwe North. Okaikwe used to be one big constituency and was broken down into Okaikwe North. Then there's Okaikwe Central, and there's Okaikwe South. Yes. So those are the areas. So this basically gives you a picture of Accra with the blues and the greens. Let's quickly go to the Ayawaso areas. Odododio first before we go to Ayawaso. This is Nilante Vanderpoy's area. It has the timber market. It has parts of it has the Kolebu, the hospital. All those areas are part of. Quite a lot of it's the lighthouse. And this is Lavender Hill. The Kole Lagoon is here, and Lavender Hill is also around this particular area. So practically, this is Odododio constituency. From Odododio, we go to Ayawaso West Wagon, where John Dumelo and Lydia Sarah Malhassan will be fighting for the seat. This is the University of Ghana Stadium. This is University of Ghana. Well laid out there, so it's basically a simple constituency, big constituency but simple with their simple university. Then we go to Ayawaso Central, which has Accra, Newtown and those areas as part, and then there's Ayawaso North and Ayawaso East. Ayawaso North and East votes for the NDC. Quickly, we'll go to Ayawaso East. Vivian, what do you think this area is? Can you tell me? If you know your Accra very well.
Now zoom that in,
I'm zooming in. Well. This is a very, very popular intersection. Accra Girls is here, your school is here.
This is Gold House.
Gold House is here, Accra Girls is here. And Ayawaso Central Assembly.
This is Roman Ridge. I know what you want to do. You want to say that is Mamobi.
Yes, and this is your school, Accra Girls.
That's Accra Girls.
That's exactly what I wanted to point to. And we'll go to Dade-Kotopon.
Hey, take your time there. Hang on. I need to take a quick break, make money. When I come back, we'll go to the Sorry?
We could do this the whole day.
Oh, yes. Yeah. We'll go to Dade-Kotopon and the rest. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Don't go away.
Grandma really knows how to take care of her family. Now, it's my turn. And like her, I only want the freshest food. I'm glad there's Samsung Twin Cooling Refrigerator, which retains 70% humidity, extending freshness up to 2 times longer. And with extended freshness, I can extend my care for my family.
And you're welcome back to the Voters Diary. My name is Vivian Kai. Look, I'm here with Stella Madonna as well as Dade-Kotopon. We're looking at the Greater Accra region, one of the key regions that can tell who is winning depending on how they sway in an election. We're looking at the make of this region. We're currently at Lojokuku.
In fact, I've gone back to Ayawaso East because I think I moved too fast in the area. This is the Nima Mamobi area.
Okay.
See how big the place is. Now, historically, a lot of people who used to live here were moved to the Medina area. Yeah. Right.
This is actually, Nima is actually Nima.
Yes.
And it's been corrupted into
It's Nima. What does it mean?
Nima, the king's town.
Oh, okay.
The chief's town.
Okay.
The king's.
So, as you can see,
what happened to the king there? The chief, I mean, the places.
No,
anyway.
Actually, he gave it out to those settlers who came. So you see that is usually dominated by people.
This is the Mamobi General Hospital. This is Nima is big, with a huge population. In fact, the president's house is here, and I don't know whether I can show that. The president. No, I won't show that for security reasons.
Oh, but we all know that.
We all know where the president's house is. By the road. It's by the road.
It's not like it's hidden somewhere. And now they have a beautiful lawn in front of by the side of the house.
The president has a house somewhere around here. I'm trying to find it. You are finding it later. Don't worry, I'll find it later. So this is Ayawaso East constituency, quite a big constituency. If you look at all this area with a lot of people, 37 military hospital is here. This is the 37 military hospital, as you can see in the post. And we go to the next constituency. But before we do that, let me show people the Kotoka International Airport as well. If you want to travel outside the country, this is the airport you use. Terminal 1 is here somewhere. Terminal 2 is here. And then the big Terminal 3 is built here. I've not captured that particular, the new photo of the Terminal 3. Okay. So this is the Kotoka International Airport. So let's go to Vivian's area.
This is my home constituency.
So this is Dade-Kotopon. Dade-Kotopon.
Wongbe.
What does it mean?
The cockroach.
That's nice, cool. Now, let me see my school. You see my school.
It's a very interesting area. Have you seen this structure? This is the trade fair area in the Dade-Kotopon area. Now, this area is supposed to be a wetland because rivers and streams pass through here. But a lot of these areas have been built upon, right? Okay. So this is actually a lagoon. This is the Peshi Lagoon, but it's been built upon. Now, this area you see here, it's fast developing. So it's not as densely populated, but it's really... It's the Chado area. It's really fast developing. So this is the Dade-Kotopon area. This is Vivian's area, really. The military academy is somewhere around here. The Teshi CARC Church, ICGC, lots of things here, really. If I zoom in here, you'd see these are new developments that have been put up in this particular area. So it's also quite an interesting area with lots of people and lots of development. And you see, this is the Kotoka International Airport, right? The airport hills is also developing in this particular area. So areas that hitherto were undeveloped because there was the Burma camp and then there was the vast land left. There are a lot of new developments that have come up in this particular area. And with the construction of the new road, which is usually called the Mahama Road, it's opened up the area. So a lot is happening in that particular enclave. So this is Dade-Kotopon. Okay. Pon.
Dade-Kotopon.
Now this is Lojokuku. This is the Lojokuku constituency. It's green. They voted for NDC, but MPP, the MPP won the parliamentary seat. That's Okoboy seat, right?
Yes, that's Okoboy.
Yes, this is the Lejokuku area. Lekma Hospital is in this area. One of the most troublesome roads that has given politicians sleepless nights is also in this area. Yes. It's this particular road I've zoomed onto. 70%, but now 70% complete. That's the link road, the Teshi link road. It goes all the way to the Sprintex area. So basically, this is a bit of the, this is Lejokuku, very built up, very, very built up, very well organized and built up area. We are seeing some illegal structures come up every now and again, but all in all, it's a good place. From there, we'll go to the last constituency, which is Krowo, which is also another constituency of Vivian Kai Loco. So this is the Krowo constituency, which is basically the Nungwa area. If you want to see the Nungwa Mall, which is the Junction Mall, this is the beautiful Junction Mall. Very, very nice structure, which has opened up that particular area for commerce. There are a lot of estates in this area as well. So all these are estates, very well organized, very well built. And it's got the Regional Maritime University. This is the Regional Maritime University. And there is also the Mighty Beach, the Sakumo. This is the Mokwi Lagoon, and then there's also the Sakumo at the other side. And so this basically is a bit of Accra, taking you in and out of Accra, showing you how Accra is. So if I zoom into the Greater Accra region, you see the blues and the greens from the 2016 election. And so this gives you, so as you move to the east, you see a lot of greens. As you move to the center and the west areas, you see a lot of the blues. So this is Greater Accra.
Okay, so a very thorough, you know, drive around the Greater Accra region, which is a very key region, also the capital of the country. So you've given us the areas, but which people do we find in there? Salome, now let's bring you in. We know, of course, there are a lot of settlers as well as indigenous and all that, but what does it look like?
Well, so the Greater Accra region mainly is home to people we call the Dangbes, or the Gans and the Dangbes. So in the capital city proper, you find a lot of the Gan people. So you look at that, you look at the Ablakuma areas, you look at Dade-Kotopon, La Krowo, those areas. You have the typical Gans, the Osu, the Ploti, and those areas, the indigenous proper. When you go towards the east, you get to see the Dangbes. The Adans, I mean, people spread around the Ningo Pram Pram, the Adaf proper, Sege, and all those areas, Bonkatamanto, etc. When you move a bit up, you go to the Shai Osudoku areas, who we can also describe comfortably as Dangbe people. But a lot of settlers have also come to town. So now settlers will be people who originally do not come from this region. So you have the Akans who constitute the major part of them. You have the Airways, you have the Northerners, and the Northerners especially, you know, have aggregated into zones. So when you look at Nima, for example, has a lot of people who have connections with the northern part of Ghana. You know, even some of them come from Nigeria, but they all aggregate in those areas. So basically that's, so when you look at a place like Ashama has a lot of the Airways settlers, Christian village around the also West Wogon, etc. Those areas have a lot of the Airways. So I mean, the whole point is that Greater Accra is very cosmopolitan. So you find almost everybody here. The indigenous Gans themselves in their indigenous towns. When you go to Gamashi, you go to Osu, you know, the indigenous towns proper. But when you get to the urbanized areas of those towns, those urbanized towns are also very cosmopolitan. So basically, I mean, that is the complexion of the capital city. And indeed, that is how most capital cities or urban cities are. They have the indigents, you know, most of the time they are outnumbered by the settlers, and Greater Accra is no exception. So let me take you to some numbers. Kojo has been speaking quite a bit for 30 minutes, so let me spare him and do the numbers for today. So in 2012 or 2016, the general election outlook was such that the MPP had 5.761 million of the votes. NDC got 4.8 million of the votes. In 2016, Greater Accra, which we are looking at, you know, Nana Akufo-Addo, who won that election, got 1,062,157 votes, which accounted for 52.42% of the total vote cast in the region. John Mahama had 946,048 votes, accounting for 46.69% of the total vote cast in the region. When you take it a step back, in 2012, John Mahama came in with 1.125 million votes, which gave him 52.31%. And Nana Akufo-Addo had 1,009,000 votes, 787. So when you compare 2012 and 2016, you realize that, of course, Mahama dropped a lot. He dropped about 163,000 votes. You know, he dropped about 163,000 votes. And Nana-Addo also increased by some 55,000 votes. So Mahama dropped about 163,000 votes, and Nana Akufo-Addo appreciated by some 55,000 votes. So that is a region. The region is made up of about 14 coastal constituencies, and we discussed the coastal constituencies for the central region the last time. So about 14 coastal constituencies. So you have the Adan, Sege, Ningo, Pram Pram, and Bonkatamanso, which are towards the eastern part of the region, towards the Volta region. You have Tema East, Tema West, Tema Central, which are also coastal. But the first part, the Adan, Sege, Ningo, Pram Pram, Bonkatamanso, they have historically voted NDC, and they are deep green constituencies. Tema East, Tema West, Tema Central have also historically voted the NPP. Now we have some other constituencies. Of course, Weja and a few others have also voted, MPP historically. We have 34 constituencies in all. Yeah. But there are some other constituencies which determine a lot of things in the region. So you have Krowo, Lejokuku, Dade-Kotopon, Odododio, Kole Klote, and a few others which we can describe as swing constituencies.
Okay, so I'll let you continue, but since you've given us an idea of who goes where, if Kojo, you can pull out just the figures, the greens, the blues, and the swings in between, then Salom comes back.
But one thing must be said, that the Greater Accra, after 2004, became the region with the most voters on the voter roll. Yes. In 2000, it was Ashanti region, but since 2012, Greater Accra is the region with the most voter roll. Now, this is what Salom was talking about. 2008, NDC got 952,000 votes. 2012, they increased to 1.129 votes. And then 2016, they dropped to 946,000 votes. But if you look at this trajectory for the NPP, 2008, it was 796,000. Then 2012, it was 1.009 million. And then 2016, they came to 1.062. So NPP has been on the increase, NDC increased and dropped. And the 2016 figures for the NPP is higher than the 2016 figure for the NDC. Now, on the constituencies and how strong they are and how weak they are, Salom explained the coastal matters. Adan is a coastal community to the east. 2012, they strongly voted for the NDC. 2016, they did the same. Domia Brobom, a bit rural, they voted NDC strong. 2012, 2016, the same. Shao Sudoku, similar trend. Ningo Pram Pram, similar trend. Sege, similar trend. Ayawasu East, we saw the same thing. Ayawasu North. Ashaiman also voted for strong for NDC, it became weak. Bonkatamanso, the same thing. Amasaman, the same thing. Dade-Kotopon, the same thing. Lejokuku, the same thing. And then Medina switched from NDC to NPP. Now, Kole Klote was NDC for presidential. It came to NPP for presidential.
NPP for presidential.
So it was a skirt and blouse affair for Kole Klote for the 20s. Adentan moved from NDC week to NPP week. Krowo, the same thing. Ablakuma Central, the same thing. Botiano, English, Amanfro, the same thing. Ayawaso has been for the NPP. Teba East from NDC to NPP. Okaikwe North from NDC to NPP. Ayawaso West Wogon from NDC to NPP. So this time, John Dumelo, who is a known celebrity, has built his political clout over the past few years, is going against Lydia Siraman Al-Hassan, who became the candidate for the NPP when the Honorable Ejako died. So it's going to be an interesting race in Ayawaso West Wagon. Okaikwe Central, this is NPP weak to NPP strong. Tema West, NPP weak to NPP strong. Now the following constituencies have been voting for the NPP strongly since we started recording between 2012 and 2016. Okaikwe South, Wejagbawe, Ablakuma West, Chobu, Ablakuma North, Dom Kwabenya, Tema Central, and Anyaso Utom. They've been voting for the NPP. So in my estimation, I can say that there are safe seats for the NPP. And I can say the same for the Duo to advance seats as almost safe seats for the NDC.
Okay, so when we share the numbers for the seats for NDC and the NPP, NDC has how many?
NDC has 14.
14.
And the NPP has 20.
20
yes.
now?
Now,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and the swingers are how many? The swing seats?
Well, if you look at this data for the seats with very low wins, for example, Adentan, I would say is a swing seat because the margin that the MPP used to win Adentan was just 4% of the whole thing. NDC also won it the last time with just 7%, right? Krowo, we are seeing a similar trend. Ablakuma Central, we saw a similar trend. Even Botiano English Amanfo, we are seeing a similar trend. So I would easily add them as seats that any of them could win if they do their work well, based on the figures that we are looking at.
Okay. And you know what? They are about 11.
Yes,
so
they are about 11.
Ablakuma South, Dade-Kotopon, so NDC has won it for a long time, but this is from the last election.
Yes.
So the difference was just about 9.31%. Dade-Kotopon, so Amasaman, Dade-Kotopon, Lejokuku, Madina, Koliklote, Adentan, Krowo, Ablakuma Central, Botiano English Yamanfro. So these are the constituencies really which will determine, you know, who actually wins the region in terms of number of seats, because in terms of number of popular votes, some other constituencies are more populous. So in terms of who wins the constituency, you know, regarding the most seats, these will have a huge role to play.
For example, Madina, the NPP won with just 1.16%. If you check Lojokuku, it's 0.50%. So it was very, very close. So whoever steps up their game and gets the extra, for example, if you look at the chart we shared, in 2016, NDC's votes in the region dropped. If they are able to push it up a bit, they could win some of these constituencies and have a better fortune in the Greater Accra region.
Okay,
so we must also state quickly that the region also has 3 skirt and blouse, or voted skirt and blouse in 3 constituencies. By skirt and blouse, I mean skirt and blouse has almost become part of our political lexicon. So a different party wins the presidential, a different party wins the parliamentary. So Dade-Kotopon, the MP right now is the gentleman we call Obama, who was deputy minister for communications. He lost his job, so he is MPP, but NDC won the presidential,
and it was a weak win with just 6%.
Yes, and Nklote Koli, the candidate or the MP as we have it now is Rawlings' daughter, Zanata Rawlings. NPP won the presidential. Indeed, in that election, there were a number of issues. If you recall, Addison, Philip Addison, who was lead counsel for Akufo-Addo and his colleagues in the 2012 election petition, he stood in that constituency, and there was a party chairman in the constituency who also resigned to contest the seat. So there were 2 candidates, but because Notedia, the chairman who resigned to contest it, but he wasn't happy about some things, he went independent. And people have said that the fact of he going independent affected the MPP in the region. So it gave Zanata Rawlings the needed votes or the opportunity to gain Ninote. It gave the NDC, that's Zanata Rawlings, more votes
than the Addison.
Even the presidential, if you look at the difference in votes really is about 1.16%.
So
right, and the margin actually is 870 votes.
So in areas like that, you know, the least disturbance like we saw in the MPP could affect you badly. The same thing happens in Lejokuku as well. The NDC won the presidential, and then MPP won the parliamentary. And that is Okoboy's constituency. So 3 constituencies in the Greater Accra region voted skirt and blouse.
The difference was 450.
450
Just 450. And
for the
percentage-wise is 0.50.
Wow.
So you round it off to either 0 or 1.
Those constituencies, when you play, they'll play with you, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll stick with the swings and then these 3 constituencies. We can start with colleague Clotte into detail on some of the things that they consider and behave the way they behave over the period that we've seen them swinging, picking a presidential candidate, ignoring the parliamentary candidate of a particular party. And all these areas you're talking about, they are split. You have the typical indigenous people as well as the cosmopolitan area with the settlers. And they behave in a very interesting way. What accounts for these behaviors? What do they consider when they take these decisions?
Well, so the College Clotte used to be the seat, the constituency with the seat of government. That's when the seat of government or the executive was the Osu Castle. The constituency is very urbanized, very urbanized. It has quite a number of people you may call middle class or people of the intellectual class. Typically, they are very analytical, they are business minded, and they are restless. They want to see a number of things. They easily get convinced, or they are not easily convinced. They are difficult to please. Those kinds of people, you know, general attributes of people in that intellectual class. So a lot of them find themselves in that area. But that area is also a coastal community. It's also a coastal constituency, which means that there are a number of fisher folk in the area, and so the same issues which affect fisher men and women in other parts of the country, premix, etc., also affect people in this area. The other issue there is that because a lot of them are highly educated, they have access to information. So you before you convince them, you must be able to convince them with a lot of hard facts, serious analysis, etc. Other than that, you will not succeed. Of course, there's another part of the constituency getting to the coast who are not very educated, but a huge chunk of the people in that constituency are educated, and so they behave typically like the middle class people. For Clotte Colley, you know, specifically, we earlier said, or we said quite a few moments ago, that the MPP in the area had issues. So Philip Addison versus the Ninote guy. You know, Ninote was very popular. Yeah. He was party chair, very young, very energetic. He had in his mind, you know, he was going to contest the seat before Philip Addison, you know, showed up after the election petition. He became so popular across the country. Everywhere he went, people followed him, and he thought that could translate into electoral popularity to give him victory. So he contested and he won. The Ninote guy came, disturbed him a bit. They had a lot of issues. Going into the election, he stood as an independent candidate. Zaneto Rawlings was coming on the scene for the first time, the first daughter of former President Rawlings. The Rawlings machinery, you know, rallied behind them, went to the various communities with his father, spoke to some key people in the community. And so the turnout really, or the result of that election was that the NDC or the MPP got 34,145, while the NDC got 32,088. The MPP won the presidential, but when it came to the parliamentary, the NDC beat them to it, obviously because of the difficulties they've had. But historically, the NDC's won that seat more. Yeah. Before, what's the name? Zaneto came, it used to be Nima who was angling to go for the 3rd time, but got beaten by Zaneto Rawlings. And if you could recall, they went to court for a number of months because they said at the time that Zaneto was contesting the seat and won, she was not a registered voter in the constituency. Yeah, yeah. The matter traveled to the Supreme Court, and Eduji Tamaklo was lawyer for Zaneto, and the court said that you could not describe Zaneto at the time of the primaries as a candidate. So the fact of her not being a registered member in the constituency could only count after the EC had opened nominations. And if by that time she is not a registered member of the constituency, then she could be disqualified on that basis. Okay. So they lost that, and there were a whole lot of issues with Valerie Sawyer, you know, Rawlings, etc., all because there was a rumor that Valerie Sawyer wanted to succeed Niamashite instead. And then now all of a sudden came Zaneto Rawlings, a young person, and we don't even know when she's going to be stepping up because she's young, obviously.
Okay,
So
unfortunately, we have to end.
Okay.
Our time's up. We'll wrap up on, don't worry, we'll wrap up on this constituency, which is our home constituency as a company, City FM, City TV, on Monday, and then we'll look at the other key constituencies, the swing constituencies in this region as well. But thank you so much for joining us. I did this with Selom Adonu. He heads our features and articles desk here, as well as Dade-Kotopon, who heads our new media team here. My name is Vivian Kai-Loko. Do make time to join us on Monday. We'll wrap up on this constituency and look at other key constituencies in the Greater Accra region. Goodbye.
Voter's Diary is sponsored by Samsung. Samsung, inspire the world, create the future.
I met this guy a few months ago. I had a serious crush on him, and so did he, because he told my friend about it. I waited for him to make a move, but he didn't, and so I did. I told him how much I liked him, and he said he liked me too. Then he later slowed things down even though we were not dating. I soon realized that a lot of ladies were also crushing on him, so I backed off because